What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Way Up Trading. Now, today I want to talk something a little bit near and dear to my heart. And basically, it's understanding a couple of different things surrounding finance that is a little bit away from the charts. A lot of people that I grew up around, a lot of people that I cross paths with have never really had the opportunity to learn some of the things and key fundamentals about how to just put themselves in a position to run down the right path financially. And it's something that goes back a long way, not just from recent times, but something that still needs to be talked about consistently in order for things to change. I mean, we live in a time where information is available to us, details about how to take care of things financially and setting ourselves up for the right future, not just for ourselves, but for our family, for our friends, for our children, the next generation. We have the information and opportunity to take advantage of things around us in order to set ourselves up. And people that are watching this channel, it's important to take the knowledge, the information, and things that in the education that you've been able to build up to this point in your life to be able to sit here and watch a video about understanding how to invest in the stock market, real estate, credit, and the importances of credit. And keep a lookout on people that are not as fortunate or have not been offered the opportunities that you have been able to take advantage of at this point in time. If you see somebody going down a certain path, it's our responsibility to speak to them, let them know a different way, guide them in the right path, give them any piece of information that you can to hopefully better their life in one way or another based upon what you've been able to accomplish. Even if it's something as small as picking up a basic stock or starting up a savings account where you're receiving a couple percents per year. Just the simple things. If you can spot somebody that's going down the wrong path or a path that is not advantageous to the future, stop them. It's within our power and our ability. We should stop them. Say what you can to change their life. You never know, that one sentence you may say or that one small piece of information that you may give them might set them into a path of increased opportunity for them going forward. It might be the opening door that sets them up for a better future. So just something I want to make sure I got out the way and make sure I spoke about in advance, because we can either do one or two things. We can either build or we can destroy. There's also a third option, is not to act. And that's just as bad as destruction. So use your tools, use your voice, help somebody out with information, guide them in the right direction, speak to them. You never know what you can say can change somebody's life. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Way Up Trading. Now, today I want to talk about how things took place with the overall market. We have FOMC going on tomorrow and things are looking really spicy. We got some information on the consumer inflation expectations, which allowed the markets to move up in a very, very drastic way later on in the day. It started off very slow but very choppy, but eventually we started to break to the upside, touching that key level of $433 on the SPY and held out, wound up having to close roughly at the top, 433.80 on the overall market. And what we could potentially see tomorrow, just to prepare for CPI, the next couple of days are going to be really, really hot. So stay tuned. We're going to go over each and every one of these different things right after this.
Short the stock, long the stock.
Oh, I watch the stock market channel all the time.
All right, I got the 4-hour chart pulled up here and just want to go over quickly what I'm seeing overall. And basically right now, I mean, SPY literally ran.
And so you just ran.
I mean, what's not really much more I can say besides the SPY is now sliced through every support or every resistance level that I had marked off up until this point. 433 was actually my target and has been my target now for several weeks on end. And I mean, this thing just blew right through that mark of 433 without any real hindrances at all. And I mean, right now things look bullish going into CPI. I mean, I was a little confused about what was happening with the VIX earlier on. The VIX actually wound up shooting up while the SPY was shooting up, as well as the general market was shooting up. But it is an indication, looking at it a little bit deeper later on into the day, it is more of an indication that the market does want to push. I looked at several different sectors, as well as the bonds, as well as the energy sector. Everything is on a continued downtrend. The dollar also on a continued downtrend, DXY, downtrend, looking like it wants to fall off a cliff. And it's showing that the market is ready to go into a risk-off situation. Now, it's in preparation probably for what's happening with the rate hike decision, possibly being a pause. If we have a beat or meet expectations for CPI tomorrow morning, I expect the SPY to actually go vertical.
On vertical. Sucker's really gaining strength.
I mean, this thing could literally push all the way up to my next target, which I have here marked as 443.52 off of our most recent ABCD broadening top pattern that we've been marking for the last few days. We did slice through again all my support levels, found support here about the 430 mark when I was expecting a potential drop down to about the 427 mark, but 433 or 430 actually proved to be a very, very strong support, and we were able to find support there, causing our partial decline on this broadening top pattern we've been talking about, and basically pushed us right out of this wedge and shot us all the way up to this 433 mark. And now we're in a position where we're above it and possibly even forming a little bit of a flag right over the top of it. And looks like toward the end of the day, we actually even started to break out of that flag. So big expectations. You see volume shot up toward the end of the day, as you usually typically will do, off of this flag sort of set up here, and started to blow through the top. I mean, this says market wants to go. Market's not done. Market's ready to push. It all comes down to CPI. That's going to set the tone for what we see going for the next couple days forward. Followed by, obviously, on Wednesday, we have PPI information coming out, as well as the Fed minutes on in the afternoon time frame around 2 p.m. Eastern. But CPI will set the tone. I mean, without a shadow of a doubt, CPI is what's going to do it. This will tell us if we're ready to start a real full-fledged bull market, or we're going to be going back down to the shadow realm, down to the depths of hell, back down to the 395 mark, because that's where this thing wants to go if anything whatsoever winds up being bearish.
Call me when it's dumped.
I wound up cutting a lot of my calls that I was in today. I was not specifically playing the SPY because of the choppiness. Was in some other plays, including Starbucks, Carvana, GME, and KRE. All did really well on those particular plays. On another video, I'll go over some of the ins and outs of how those plays took out. Some of them going well over 100% in profits. We'll discuss that on the following video. However, I'm going to take a pull up other indicators that I'm looking at here on the overall market. All right, I have the VIX pulled up here. Just taking a look here. Just wanted to point something out. The area that we actually hit here, right now you can see the VIX is actually sitting below 14, below 15, below the more recent support level lows before we actually hit our all-time highs on the SPY. We bottomed out roughly back the most recent bull trend, our most recent bull market that we had, that ended roughly at the end of 2021, December 2021, and into the beginning of 2022 before everything started to spill downwards. We hit our lows just roughly on the SPY. We hit our lows roughly around that January spot before rising back up. So in this particular setup, it's a very high probability. The way the VIX is moving right now is that we can see, it's funny that at this particular stage, if this does go, if the market does decide to go risk off based on what I'm seeing with the VIX, we can potentially start to make our way back towards the target 2 that I have set up here if CPI winds up going positive. Now I have the 443 mark as my next target right now. If we do go ahead, this is the 2-day chart in the SPY. If things wind up being positive tomorrow into CPI, I see 443 in sights. If things wind up on Wednesday going with a pause, if the FOMC minutes would lead to something that's a little bit more bullish than we expect, I have target 2, believe it or not, sitting right here at $469. Still a huge possibility that this can happen prior to the end of the year. Crazy as it sounds, it's a possibility. So something we're going to keep our eyes out for. We're going to pay attention to what's happening with the overall market. As I mentioned before, a couple other things I've been paying attention to just to kind of get a gauge on what we can see tomorrow and going into the rest of the week. Again, CPI is going to dictate what's going to happen overall. I have the DXY pulled up, and you can clearly see that DXY is in a downtrend, looking to push down. Generally speaking, when the DXY is pushing downward, the markets tend to push inverse and push upward. So the way this looks, obviously the DXY wants to go and revisit most likely around the $100 mark in a very short period of time. That's most likely going to play out if things wind up being bullish over the next several days. But right now the downtrend is here, and it looks like it doesn't want to turn around just yet. Risk off is going to be the case most likely All we're waiting for is the details on CPI. Another indicator, crude oil, another indicator showing obviously another downtrend, looking like it wants to break the support level we have sitting here around $66 and just fall right through. I mean, obviously it's another situation where this potentially may play out a little longer, but once this falls through, I believe markets are going to rip. CPI and the idea for inflation has been directly correlated with what's happening with the energy sector. Has a lot to do how people spend money and what's taking money out of folks' pockets, causing the inflation to actually go upwards, directly connected to the transport sector, any type of logistics, things like that. This is what you're finding really contributed to higher prices, gouging on prices for anything that was related, had to be delivered by a truck or whatever the case may be, by plane. Energy is directly correlated to inflation, which causes prices to rise. So in this case, this stuff is all falling. Once it falls, markets rip, and that's just what's going to happen. So I mean, these are clear indicators that the market doesn't want to push up. We're not in a situation where we look to be in a bear market as much as most people like to believe. We still have a war going on. That's not gone. We know that there's still tons of money being sent over to Ukraine. That's not gone. From a macro perspective, we know we have a lot of things happening, but the market still looks bullish. Be careful trying to short these companies that you think need to pull back. Tesla, it can still keep going. I see Tesla still most likely wanting to push around the 261 mark. I mentioned this in the last video we had. Tesla's still ready to continue to melt faces. It's not over yet because we saw a low drop to around 243 today. A complete bounce fake out situation for the bears, and it continued to just pump all the way back up to 250, and the move is not over yet. Very strong company. Huge situation that's happening with the EV sector. Tesla's pretty much going to rule the charging space in this case, with other car companies wanting to work with them on their charging grids. So yeah, it's just not a good idea to short Tesla right now. My next target 261 is sitting here and it's ready to be basically hit within any day. If there's any inkling what's happening with the market being anywhere near bullish, this is going to 261. And again, I have my top target sitting here at 297. 295 is one of the highest targets that I have, just before $300. Apple, another company that's been on a complete tear for the last couple of days. I mean, people are waiting to short this thing, and obviously they had the big news that came out with the new tech they just put out with the AR space. And yeah, people have been looking to short this thing. It did fall down pretty hard the other day for, I believe, just nothing more than a reaccumulation on shares. However, it continued and has now pushed to new all-time highs once again. And I don't think the run on Apple is over. People are looking to short it, and it's the wrong time to do so unless we start to hear some negative news come out from the Fed or CPI numbers or PPI numbers. I don't think it's a good time to try to short these companies. We made that mistake last time. A lot of folks made that mistake last time with the chip sector, NVIDIA, AMD, and these things are continuing to rip people's faces off all the way up. So be careful trying to short this market. I don't think it's the time. Play the trend, play what's happening with the charts, and let's just make money to the upside, because this is not showing any indication of slowing down just yet, unless we hear otherwise from what's going on with CPI. So it's the same scenario with bonds, the same scenario with the 2-year, the 10-year, the 5-year. All of those are still starting to show that sign of weakness. Let's just play the charts. Let's be bullish. We're gonna worry about playing the downside when the downside arrives, but stay positive on this thing. It looks like we're gonna have a great couple of days coming out. I'm gonna be posting some information on some of the plays I took today earlier on. We're gonna do some review on those, on entries and some other opportunities that I see going forward in the next couple of days. Right now I'm pretty much liquid. I closed out all my positions, but we're gonna watch the charts for what they are. It should be a very, very exciting next couple of days in the markets. And yeah, let's go ahead and make some money together on this thing. If you like this type of content, please like and subscribe to the videos. Leave your comments and questions down below, and join us on the way up. We're gonna be here every single day building our portfolios together, making the income for 2023. Like, comment, subscribe, and talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.